Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive.
Hey there.
So today we're diving into something, well, a little different for us, isn't it?
It really is a stack of sources, but not articles or books.
Exactly. It's a collection of article titles, all pulled from one specific section on how stuff works.
Yeah, the everyday myths section.
Mm-hmm.
And just looking at the list itself is pretty fascinating. It shows you the sheer range of what gets called a myth these days.
That's exactly our mission here. We're not aiming to become experts on, any one of these titles.
Right, it's just the titles we have.
Yeah, it's more about exploring this kind of cabinet of curiosities they've assembled. What kinds of things actually fall under this everyday myths umbrella?
It's like a quick tour through, well, what people wonder about. You've got folklore, weird phenomena, symbols, spirituality.
Given some sciencey what ifs.
Exactly. It's all in there. It helps you get a handle on the variety pretty quickly.
Okay, so where does this list start us off? I noticed some pretty unusual creatures mentioned right near the top.
Yeah, definitely. The source list kicks off with some regional folklore figures,
Yeah,
like the aswang.
from Filipino mythology.
Yeah, often described as like a shape-shifting monster.
Oh.
Sort of grim folklore.
And then there's the squonk.
Huh, yeah, the squonk. That's a unique one from Pennsylvania. A cryptid that's supposedly so sad it just cries constantly,
Cries itself into a puddle.
apparently.
I mean,
And devolves if you corner it. Just wild.
that detail alone tells you something, doesn't it? And the list even mentions the Pacific Northwest tree octopus.
But notice the title there.
Right. It calls it the internet's favorite fake.
So that's important. The source itself is kind of distinguishing things right away. It's not saying all these are equally believed.
Good point. It mixes genuine folklore passed down for ages with stuff that's clearly, made up online more recently.
And both end up under everyday myths, which is interesting in itself.
Definitely. What other kinds of mysteries pop up in these titles?
Well, there are unexplained phenomena, like the Marfalites are mentioned.
Asking what they are, right?
Yeah.
UFOs, cars, ghosts.
Yeah, posing the question. And the Winchester House story is there, too.
Framed as, like, why is it so scary? What's the deal?
And that title about the Antarctica Pyramid.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
The source title acknowledges the conspiracy theories, from the satellite pictures.
But then it says right there.
It isn't actually a pyramid. Yeah. So it addresses the myth but provides the counter-info immediately.
Okay.
So this first bunch, it really taps into that fascination with the unknown, doesn't it? Creatures, lights, weird places.
The stories that just keep circulating. Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, now, shifting gears quite a bit here. A huge chunk of this list seems to be about numbers.
Oh, absolutely. Angel numbers.
Yeah.
That category is really prominent in the source title.
So this is about seeing repeating numbers, like on clocks or license plates, and finding meaning in them.
Pretty much. Assigning spiritual or personal significance to sequences you notice.
And the source lists a ton of examples, like 234 for spiritual guidance.
Or 757, signaling a spiritual awakening. 8888 for prosperity.
It mentions 313, 414, 808, even bigger ones like 5555.
And the master number 33 is in there too.
It's less about the math then and more about the interpretation.
Totally. It points to a belief system where maybe the universe or some higher power is sending messages through these patterns, offering guidance or just, validation.
It's really interesting how we, as humans, seem wired to find patterns, isn't it?
Definitely.
And then assign such deep meaning to something like a string of digits.
It really shows that search for connection, for significance, even in things that might seem random.
Yeah.
And that connects pretty well to the next theme that pops up in the titles.
Which is?
Looking for meaning and symbolism in colors, stones, objects, that sort of thing.
Ah, right. Like mood rings. I saw that title. Asking what a blue one means.
Yeah, linking it to like calmness or confidence.
And then there's a broader look at color meanings in general, how different shades affect us.
Culturally, emotionally, psychologically.
Yeah.
Yeah. It even gets specific with something called heart colors.
Heart colors.
Yeah, exploring how red or purple might convey emotions or hidden messages. Asking if that's cultural or, more innate.
Huh. And it moves beyond just color, too, into actual objects.
Right. Stones and crystals are mentioned. Agate for emotional healing. Apophyllite for clarity. Things often used in meditation.
Okay. And worry stones.
Presented as an ancient tool for stress relief, using touch for mindfulness.
And I saw one about black butterflies, exploring their meaning.
Yeah, symbols of transformation, maybe mystery or renewal, depending on the cultural context.
So this whole section really highlights how we invest meaning, sometimes even a sense of power, into the physical world.
Exactly. Objects aren't just objects. They become symbols, maybe tools, sometimes messengers.
It adds another layer to this everyday myth idea. It's not just stories, but also ways of reading the world symbolically.
Well put, yeah. And that leads into another big category in the source list.
Let me guess. Spirituality and divination type practices.
You got it. Palmistry is listed.
Focusing on the heart line, wasn't it? What it reveals about emotions.
And aura colors are there too, asking what they mean.
And suggesting they might link to your future somehow, based on the colors changing.
Sort of, yeah. And classic divination tools like tarot cards.
There was a specific one mentioned, 9 of Pentacles.
Yeah, exploring its meaning themes like abundance, independence, that kind of thing.
The source also seems to touch on broader spiritual ideas.
It does. The divine feminine comes up looking at its meaning, how embracing it connects to empowerment.
And that concept of generational curses, that was intriguing.
Right, asking what they are, how you might break them. It touches on this idea that maybe our lives are influenced by more than just our own choices.
So this group really shows how everyday myths can also include these, like, structured belief systems.
Yeah, practices people actively use to understand themselves or their past, or maybe glimpse the future.
Okay, now here's a twist I wasn't quite expecting alongside, cryptids and tarot.
What's that?
The list includes hypothetical science questions.
Oh, right. Yeah, those titles like, what if cows didn't exist?
Or what if Earth's magnetic field flipped?
What if humans could breathe underwater? They're thought experiments, really.
Based on science, but they feel almost like modern fables. They capture the imagination.
Totally. And there are topics kind of on the edge of science and alternative beliefs, too.
Like solfeggio frequencies, the title asks if they're healing tones or pseudoscience.
Or sacred geometry, is it related to science, or is it simply beautiful?
Including those suggests that everyday myths can also be about poking at the edges of science, right?
Yeah, or questioning what we think we know.
Yeah.
It highlights that basic human curiosity about how things work, even in these speculative ways.
And then finally, the source list rounds things out with astrology.
Yep, titles covering the zodiac elements: fire, earth, air, water.
And specific compatibility stuff like Libra and Aquarius or Cancer and Capricorn.
Another ancient system of interpretation, still floating around in everyday conversation and curiosity, filed right alongside everything else here.
Wow. Okay, looking back at this whole collection now, it's genuinely remarkable, the sheer variety of stuff pulled together under everyday myths.
It really is, isn't it? You go from, like, shape-shifting monsters and crying cryptids
To angel numbers on your receipt.
to the meaning of a black butterfly, palm reading, hypothetical physics.
All the way to checking your horoscope.
It covers so much ground.
So the big takeaway from this deep dive into just the titles, it isn't really about the nitty-gritty of any single myth, is it?
No, I don't think so. It's more about the panorama it offers. A snapshot of what grabs our attention, what sparks our imagination day to day.
It really highlights that constant human drive to find meaning, right?
Yeah, and to understand the unknown, see patterns, explore possibilities.
And how those lines get blurred all the time between folklore, belief, maybe speculation, and what we consider solid fact.
Absolutely. Seeing this whole range gives you, like, a shortcut. You can appreciate the breadth of what falls into this category without getting bogged down in any one thing.
It's about spotting the sheer diversity of things we wonder about.
Exactly. It paints a picture of our collective curiosity. You see the landscape without having to map every single hill and valley yourself.
Okay, so based on this whole wild collection from everyday myths, here's a final thought to leave you with. Considering how incredibly diverse these topics are all crammed under this one label, what does that suggest about how you, personally, draw the line? How do you decide what counts as fact versus legend as you navigate your own world?